Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to study a new chapter from Financial Management and Business Data Analytics, that is the 8th chapter from Business Data Analytics, Introduction to Data Science for Business Decision Making. First, let's see the relationship between data, information and knowledge. So, data means unprocessed facts, that is, there is no meaning. For example, 100, 200, 300, these are data. Information means processed and meaningful data. That is, there is data as well as a context to it. For example, the sales increased from 100 to 300 units. Now you know its sales and you can analyze. So that is known as information. The third one is knowledge, that is insights plus understanding used for decision making. That is increased production due to rising demand. This is an example for it. So that is you interpreted information and took action. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is nature of data. So the first one is numerical data, that is data in numbers. So this is easiest to compute. For example, profit, cost, revenue, marks, age, all these can be computed easily. Example includes profit, cost, revenue, marks, age, etc. So all these will be represented in terms of money. The next one is descriptive data. The second type of data is descriptive data. That means text-based data, that is words and sentences. For example, customer feedback like good service or staff is rude. So all these are known as descriptive data. The third one is graphic data. That means visual representation. Anyone can understand it by looking into it. Fourth one is structured data. That means organized in rows and columns. Like for example, like a Excel table. It is easy to analyze. The next one is unstructured data. So as the name says, it is not organized, that is there is no rows and no columns. So this is difficult to analyze and this needs the assistance of AI. So the examples includes emails, videos, WhatsApp noise notes, CCTV footages, etc. The sixth one is quantitative data, that is data which is measurable and numeric, that is you can add or subtract. So this is easy for calculating average and total possibles, etc. The seventh one is qualitative data. This is non-numeric descriptive, that is this is quality and not quantity. Like customer satisfaction we have already mentioned. The eighth one is continuous data. That means can take any value within a range. That is decimals are possible. For example, the temperature, the weight or the time or the values between 32 and 33, all these are examples of continuous data. The ninth one or the last type of data is categorical data. That means it is classified into groups and has limited options like gender, female, male or other, product type like electronics, clothes, food, blood group, etc. So qualitative data is often categorical. So these are the nature of data. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is properties of data. So properties of data means what makes good data. So the first one is accuracy, that is correct and error free. So bad data will lead to bad decision making. The second one is completeness, that is no missing values must be there. Third one is consistency, that is same format must be continued. Fourth one is relevance, that is it must be useful for making decision. Fifth one is timeliness, that is it must be available whenever needed. The sixth one is reliability, that means it must be a trustworthy source. We should be able to rely upon it. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is scope of data. Where do we use data in businesses? First one is decision making. For example, If a question arises like, should we open a new branch? And data says yes. So it helps in decision making. The second one is forecasting and planning. So this means we can predict the future. The third one is cost control. It helps to control cost and finds any leakage. Or next one is performance evaluation. So data tells on the basis of the performance. Next one is risk analysis. So here we can identify what is the risk, who is at default, etc. The next one is business strategy development. So here the data will be showing whether in which platform there are more sales, or in which platform the more revenue is generated, etc. Let's move on to the next subchapter, that is types of data in finance and costing. There are two types of data: quantitative data and qualitative data. Quantitative financial data means those are numerical information like revenue, cost, profit, example, and it is used for ratio analysis, budgeting, etc. The second one is qualitative financial data. Those are non-numeric but important. For example, management's opinion on future, the market trends, customer satisfaction, etc. And the uses in balance sheet as well as qualitative signals, etc. will be shown. There are few more types of data like financial data. Financial data means those are related to financial statements like profits, asset, liabilities, cash flow, etc. Second one is market data. Those are from external market information like demand, competition, price trends, Sensex, etc. So the user's pricing decision needs both your cost, that is financial data, and competitor price, that is market data. Cost data means it is related to production cost, for example, material, labor, and overhead cost. The fourth one is budgetary data, and it is known as the planned financial data. That is the cost which will incur for the future. Example, budgeted incomes and expenses. The fifth one is customer data. Information about customers, that is known as customer data. Examples, their preferences, their demographics, etc. Last one is sales data, and those are related to the sales performances. So the examples include the units sold, the revenue generated, the region-wise sales, etc. Now let's move on to the next subchapter, that is digitization of data and information. So what is meant by digitization? It is the conversion of physical or manual data into digital form. The main purpose is to make data easy to store, access, and analyze. So, for example, the paper records were converted into Excel or software, and your college attendance register were converted into Google Sheets. These are the examples of digitization. So, digitization means converting the data into digital form, and digitalization means changing business processes using that digital data. So, why do we digitize data? That is the next question. So, let's see the benefits. First one is faster access to information. Second one is improved accuracy, that is less human error. Third one, easy storage and retrieval. Fourth one, better data analysis, and it supports decision making in cost and time efficiency and data security and backup. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is how we digitize, that is the phases of digitization. First one is justification of proposed digitization project, that is before spending money. First one is identify need for digitization, that is why. If there are files missing, reports late. Second one is cost benefit analysis. For example, if you spend rupees 5 lakh for software today, will it save rupees 10 lakh salary in 2 years? Then do it, go for it. That is cost benefit analysis. The third one is define objectives and scope. So only sales data or HR, then it is a clear boundary. Fourth one is management approval. So without the management director's signature, there is no money. The second phase is assessment. That means check ground reality, evaluate existing data and records, check volume and condition of data, identify tools and technology required, and risk assessment. The third phase is planning, that is, make roadmap, develop digitization strategy, and allocate budget and resources. The fourth phase is digitization activities, that means execution phase, hands on work starts. So you should scan the documents like physical bills, registers, photos to PDF or JPG, then data entry and conversion, that is, type data into Excel or Tally, data cleaning and validation, that means removing duplicates and fixing errors, and use of software or tools like Tally or MS Excel. The fifth phase is processes in the care of records, that means after digitizing, how to maintain. First one is storage and backup systems, that is, save in hard disk or cloud and pen drives. Data security measures, that is, password, encryption, antivirus, all these must be done. Access control, that is, one should be able to edit it. Not all, but specified persons must be given the authority to edit it. Maintenance and updating. New things will be able to be added. Also, the old ones to be maintained. The sixth phase is evaluation. That means, did project succeed? So check quality and accuracy, compare with objectives, identify improvements, and continuous monitoring is very important. Now let's move on to the next subchapter, that is transformation of data to decision relevant information. So there are 6 steps to transform a data into an information. The first one is collection of data. That means gather raw data from sources. For example, sales records from shops, surveys from customers. The second one is organizing the data. That means arranging the data systematically, classifying and grouping by date or by product or by region. The third one is processing data. That means converting raw data into meaningful form. For example, calculations, sorting, or by filtering. Next one is integration of data. That means combining data from different sources. So create a unified data set. That means sales data, customer data, stock data, all these together. The fifth one is data reporting. That is present data in an understandable form, like in charts or tables or dashboards. So tools like Power BI or Tableau or Excel charts can be used. The sixth one is data utilization. It means use information for decision making, and this is the final goal. Planning, forecasting, and control is the main thing. Now let's move on to the next subchapter, that is 8.5 communication of information for quality decision making. So here communication of information means sharing relevant information with decision makers in a clear and timely manner. So the key principle is quality information leads to quality decisions. So well curated and properly reported data helps to generate business insights, also improve strategic decision making. Now let's see the role of data analytics. So this is essential for lean finance. So lean finance means do more with less cost and less waste. So analytics finds where money is leaking. So this leads to 4 benefits: reduced cost, increased speed, flexibility, and improved quality. Now the next topic is capabilities achieved through data. Here we are discussing the capabilities we get after transforming data. Why all this collection to reporting effort? So the first one is better understanding of data. That means we can analyze both structured and unstructured data. Second one is improved prediction. That means more accurate forecasting than traditional methods. So it involves both historical and external data. Next one is real-time insights. That means one must identify emerging opportunities and capability gaps. Next one is handling uncertainty. So this helps in decision making during market volatility and black swan events. So black swan events means like COVID, flood and war, and market volatility means the share market up or down 5% in an hour, right? So this is known as market volatility. Fifth one is better decision support. One must diagnose and filter data and should extract useful insights from financial data and operational data. Next one is customer advantage. Like one must identify ways to improve customer service and deliver in better value. Seventh one is fraud detection. One must detect possible fraud based on data analysis patterns. Last one is effective reporting. Like one must create dashboards, like one screen all KPIs, like that. Measure performances like with actual and budgeted one. Support strategy implementation. So these are the capabilities. The next and the last subchapter in this chapter is professional skepticism regarding data. So professional skepticism means do not accept data analysis at face value. For example, the dashboard shows profit up to 50%. Don't celebrate yet. Ask why, how, and is it true? So always apply critical thinking. Use brain, not just software. Questioning attitude. Why sales up? Why is the discount? One big order, then it is a mistake. So just keep on thinking. The third one is look beyond surface level results. The next one is need for professional skepticism. So the first one is data analytics provides insights, but it may hide important details like, for example, average sales or branch-wise sales, etc. And also this can be misleading. Next one is role in data analytics environment. So the growth of analytical tools provides more insights but creates new challenges, and the professionals must identify red flags as well as invest unusual patterns. The fourth one is issue of false positives, that is data may show anomalies that are not real problems, and these are called false positives. That means, for example, unusual spike in sales may be seasonal and that is not fraud. Next subchapter is ethical use of data and information. So ethical use means collecting, processing and using data responsibly. That is not illegal use, ethical use. That law allows many things and ethics ask whether it is right or not. So this ensures three things: fairness, that is don't discriminate using data; transparency means no secret tracking; and protection of stakeholders like customers, employees, supplier data safe. Now let's see the importance. It builds trust among users and stakeholders. It prevents misuses and manipulations, and also it ensures legal compliances and supports responsible decision making. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is 5 principles of data ethics. So first one is regarding ownership, that is data ownership rights. So the individuals own their personal data, not the company. So the organization must take permission or consent before collecting data, as well as use data only for agreed purposes. Second one is regarding transparency. Data practices must be clear and open. There must not be any fraudulent activities. Users should know what data is collected, how it is used, and why it is used. So no hidden data collection. The third principle is privacy. So personal data must be protected. Organizations should ensure confidentiality and prevent unauthorized access and use security measures. The fourth one is intention or purpose limitation. So the data should be used for specific and ethical purposes, must avoid misuse, manipulation, and unethical targeting. So it must be used only for the purpose it was collected. And the last principle is outcomes or impact of data use. So here consider results of data usage. So before using, ask who gets harmed. Also ensure there is no harm to individuals. Fair and unbiased decision must be there. Social responsibility should be met, and discrimination and unfair practices must be avoided. So here with this we conclude. We'll be coming up with the next videos. Till then, keep learning and keep growing. Thank you.